I got 31.
Okay, good day everybody. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you very much for joining. Today we're going to be discussing the new RapNet Trade Center. I want to thank you very much for joining the webinar, and also thank you very much for choosing RapNet. I'm going to try not to be too long. There's a lot of ground to cover and a lot to discuss. We're going to divide this webinar into 3 parts. The first part will be a general introduction to what is this new trade center, how does it work, and why have we launched it. The second part will be a brief demonstration live on the web of a simple trade, and so you can see how you move from initial interest to invoicing, to finishing the trade. And then finally, I'm going to open up the floor to questions. If you want to ask any questions now or during the webinar, please look at the bottom of your screen and you'll see a Q&A icon. Just press that icon and you can type any question that you want to, that you have. Okay, so let me start with a little introduction as to what have we done? Where are we? What's new? What's going on? Johnny, can I ask you to monitor the chats? 2 things have happened in the last couple of weeks on RapNet. First of all, we replaced the old inbox with a more modern chat feature. And now you can chat almost like you do on WeChat or on WhatsApp between members, one to the other, seamlessly on the web or on your mobile device, backwards, and you can switch between the 2. That's very important. And that was launched a week ago, and it's being used widely, and it's very successful. Your old inbox is still available, although you can't carry on any new conversations from the old inbox, but you can see your old chats, your old inbox messages, and they'll be there for another couple of months until they're not relevant anymore. And then yesterday we launched Trade Center, and wow, what a difference Trade Center is going to make to your lives. It's there to help you negotiate and complete all the diamond trading that you need to do. It's there to help you keep track of what trading is going on. It's there to help you expedite your trade so that things can happen faster, more efficiently, and with the minimum of misunderstandings. We designed Trade Center in partnership with you, with our members, and it solves a number of difficulties that people were facing. We consulted widely with our members to make sure that their needs were met and that everybody will be able to find what they need in Trade Center. So what is Trade Center and why did we do this? So Trade Center is a place which centralizes all your communications between buyers and sellers regarding any items on RapNet, diamonds, one-day jewelry, and wherever we go. It's a way to negotiate, it's a way to communicate, and it's a way to finalize the deals. It's a way to reach Mazal in a way that there'd be no misunderstandings and that everybody understands what exactly the deal's terms are. Why did we do Trade Center? Well, first of all, there was the issue of security. This has been a burning issue for a couple of years with our members because email is inherently insecure. Email is prone to attack. Email is prone to people reading some skilled attacker reading your email, pretending to be you or the other party you're negotiating with, and convincing people to send money on a false invoice to a bank account where the money just disappears and no one can get hold of the buyer or the seller ever again. This has been happening to our RapNet members who've been relying on email outside of RapNet as a way to communicate and get invoices. This is something that we had to help people with. We had to change. And so we developed a trade center that works without need for emails. We don't use emails in the trade center other than a notification to tell you that a trade has started on RapNet. All communication now happens within the RapNet platform, on the website or on the mobile apps, and there's absolutely no need to use insecure protocols like email. Secondly, RapNet brings buyers and sellers together from around the corner, but also from across the world. And the ways in which people communicate are getting very complex. It's not unusual for one single transaction to start via RapNet, carry on a little bit via email, move to Skype, have a few WhatsApp interactions in between, maybe a WeChat interaction, and then finalized by email. This is confusing. This makes buyers and sellers have to monitor multiple different channels all the time. It gets difficult to work out where you are. And key important terms are often miscommunicated during this process, leading to disputes, slow trading, or just loss of money. What the RapNet Trade Center does is it centralizes all your trading in one place. It's a seamless web to mobile to web interface so you can trade wherever and whenever you are. On the mobile app or on the web browser, and everything is synchronized. Finally, Trade Center provides you the ability to trade faster and waste less time and therefore make more money. Trades in Trade Center are consistent, they're systematic. The buyers and the sellers know exactly what has to be agreed on, what hasn't yet been finalized, and what the stage of the transaction is. They don't have to consult an email and wonder, is this the latest email? Wait, maybe I got a Skype for last night. Hang on, maybe it's on WeChat. It will all be centralized through Trade Center and make it much easier to get to a frictionless result, a frictionless mazal. So that's what Trade Center is. That's why we did it. And I'm going to, at this stage, go and show you how it works. And then after that, we will pause for questions. So bear with me as I just switch off the video and bring up the website to explain to you how Trade Center works. Okay, by now you should be able to see my main screen. Now, I'm not going to confuse everybody right now, but I do want to bring to your attention how a trade looks like, its main features, and then we're going to go into a flow of how a trade actually happens. But what I did want to show you was the following. This is Trade Center. I have one trade here. I'm buying this diamond that you see on the left-hand side. It's called Test Round 1.82. It's a DIF XXX. And on the right-hand side, as a buyer, I'm seeing all the deals that are all the interesting things that I need to know and that I need to finalize. Now, what are the main anatomy of Trade Center? First of all, at the top, you've got a description of the diamond and the seller's initial asking price. That's kind of like a title to the trade. This is the diamond we're talking about. Then there are three main sections in Trade Center that you have to get to know. The first one is the terms of the deal. That includes the price, how you pay, is it a sale or a memo, shipped to where, who's paying for shipping, do we accept returns, yes or no, any other trading terms that we want to put in that we have to agree on. And then, of course, very importantly, at the bottom, you'll see this is a completed transaction, but at the bottom, you'll see mazal. The term sheet has been agreed to by both the buyer and the seller, and there's a binding transaction. The second important part of Trade Center, of each trade, is the messaging capability. Here you'll be able to see any messages that have been passed backwards and forwards between the buyer and the seller. For example, is this diamond BGM? I can do this price. What about that? Da, 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 da. Finish your discussion and communication. Finalize it in the terms. So there's the terms, which is what we actually agreed, which is what results in an invoice. There's the communication over here. And then finally, the other important part of Trade Center is, whoops, excuse me, is the activity log. What is the activity log? The activity log is all the different important events that have happened in this trade. Starts off with, I submitted an offer, I changed my price, then the seller, excuse me, changed some of the shipping, the terms, like the shipping terms. Then we agreed on the final sales price. I agreed to the offer, and then the seller agreed to the offer, and the negotiation was complete, mazal. So the activity log tells you the important part. It's a history of the transaction. So again, the three main parts: the terms and the term sheet, the messaging, and the activity log. Bear that in mind as we go through how a version of trade on RapNet. So let's go from the beginning. I come into RapNet, and I'm going to go to search. All good things on RapNet start with search. By the way, as an aside, I just want to make a plug for the new search form that we put on to RapNet, to the new RapNet website. It looks very much like the older search form that is available on RapNet Classic, and I think people will love it. To be able to switch between search views, you go between standard, compact, or classic. I'm using classic view for this demonstration. So I'm going to search for a diamond. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm sitting with Johnny Katz in the room, and he's going to be the seller, and I'm going to be the buyer. Johnny, what is your company number, just so we can find your diamond quickly?
76471.
Okay. I'm just going to search for diamonds by Johnny in the meantime, just so that I can quickly get to this demonstration. And I think today I'm looking for a DIF XXX, always a good demonstration diamond. So we begin the process like all diamonds are bought on RapNet with the contact seller. You click contact seller, and you'll see a form very similar to the form we're all used to. This one's got a few new features. First of all, you still have to write a message to the seller. Something like, is the stone BGM? I need it by Thursday. Just a message or whatever it is you want to write. But you can also make an offer, and you can also say if you need it on sale or memo. Now, sale and memo will only be available to you if the seller accepts memo transactions. If the seller doesn't accept memo transactions, you won't be able to choose memo, and only sale will be visible here. Let's do it as if it's a sale. And I'm going to offer on this diamond minus 40 below. You are able on Trade Center to keep your different offers organized in groups. I don't want to go into all the details and all the different little features on Trade Center, but this one's quite a useful one. If, for example, you're buying 5 diamonds from the same seller, or you're buying 5 diamonds for your customer from different sellers, you may want to group them so that when you get to Trade Center, you can open up your group and see all the 5 diamonds and at what status the negotiations are and where they are, so that you can keep track of diamonds that you're buying when you're buying multiple diamonds for a single purpose. In this case, I'm not going to do a group, and I'm just going to send the offer to the seller. A message comes up saying the message was sent to the seller. And what's happened now behind the scenes is 3 things. 1, an email goes out to the seller saying, you've got a new trade waiting for you in Trade Center. And if they click on the email, it takes them to the website and they can begin the negotiation process. So the seller is notified. 2, in the seller's trade center, a trade is created and the seller will be able to see who the buyer is, what diamond we're talking about, and begin the conversation with the buyer. And of course, in the buyer's trade center, a trade is created, the same trade. And you can see here, this one says there's one new trade waiting for me to have a look at. So I'm going to go to Trade Center. You see one under buying, because I'm buying. And you'll see this is the one I showed you earlier, the one that was agreed. But here's a new one that I'm waiting for some results. Now, just while we're talking, I'm going to show you that the same thing is happening on the app. If I go to Trade Center on the app, you'll see that I have an offer in negotiation here as well. Sorry, I need to be in buying. And you'll see here, here's my new offer in negotiation, and I can go into it in the app. And it's here with the same 3 tabs: terms, messages, and activity log. If I go to messages on the app, you'll see my message is the stone BGM I needed by Thursday. Maybe this needs to be a little bit bigger. Is the stone BGM I needed by Thursday? And Johnny answered, Thursday might be too soon. I can try and get it to you Friday. No BGM. Am I there? That's what Johnny wrote to me on the app. And if I go to the trade on the web, I'll see that the same messages are there. And I can go, Friday is fine, is price okay? And why am I asking is price okay? Because if we go to look at the terms, you'll see that the seller's price is at -30 and I've offered -40. During the conversation, Johnny updated his price to closer to my offer, to -32. And now I see that the seller updated their price. And I've got to make some decisions here. I'm going to quickly take you to the activity log so you can see what happened there. I submitted at a price. The seller updated their price. Negotiations are starting. I see that it's at -32, -40. I've got a bit of room, so I can go to -35, let's say, if I get it now, because he's promised it to me by Friday. And I update the price, and now I'm waiting for the seller to respond. Again, if we look at the app, you will see that the same, let me bring the app across, you'll see that the same things are happening on the app even as we speak. I'm at -35, the seller's at -32, and the negotiation is well underway. I think it's time for the seller to agree to my price. Oh, the seller's writing me messages. Okay, he's saying he'll update the price. So I go to the terms, and the seller's about to agree to my price by clicking on the words match price, which you'll see there, and we have a deal. The price is matched, pay within 3 days, it's a sale, this is my address, this is my address as the buyer, and we don't accept returns. I'm happy with the deal. I know the diamond. I know the price. We're all good. I will agree. This is mazal. This is agreeing. This is a binding commitment. You press this button, you are committed to buy this diamond at the terms and at the terms shown. I've agreed. I'm now waiting for the seller, so it's pending the seller's signature, and the seller has just agreed as well. And so we have a binding sale that's just happened. Again, I'm just going to show you the app. You'll see the status is agreed, the price is sorted, is there, and all the transaction terms are. Oops, the app connection is are all there. And that's it. That is the Trade Center in a nutshell. An easy way to communicate, to see what's happened, and to get to terms very quickly. course, if you're the seller, you can add other terms if you want. You may have returns, you may have grading, you may have customs duty that you want to put in. You can add new terms, and whatever terms you add will be added to the deal. And then ultimately the seller can send you an invoice. And here's the invoice. I don't know how visible it is because the window is a little small, but it's got the company logo of the seller, a little blurb, and it's saying what they sold, how much, and any other text and terms that the seller wants to put in. So the seller has communicated to me an invoice directly drawn from the terms in the term sheet, and that is essentially how Trade Center works. You have a number of diamonds here that you're buying. As you buy, more and more diamonds will populate. The most you can do it by unread. You can filter by unread or by status, so that it doesn't get cluttered, and you can also order it so that you have the unread first. You can see anything you need to see about the buyer or the seller by clicking on View Profile, and that is the main areas of Trade Center. Is there anything I've forgotten, John?
No, there's a question. How does the seller enter terms?
Okay, so that was the buyer side. I'm going to stop at this stage for a few minutes just for people to understand what just happened. We did the following. You know, I like to joke about this, but I'm not sure that everyone will appreciate the joke. But you know, the diamond industry runs on the 4 C's. You know, carat, cut, clarity, and the report price sheet is based on the 4 C's. Well, RapNet Trade Center also has its own 4 C's. You start with the initial contact. You then communicate the terms with the buyer and the seller. You then complete the transaction by pressing Mazal. And then you collect your money, send your invoice, and finalize the transaction. So you just saw that in the Trade Center, a very smooth contact, communicate, complete, collect. Boom, 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 finish, and make it much easier than I've got a WhatsApp, I've got a WeChat. The guy sent me an image here. He did this there. It just makes life a lot easier. Don't forget, in the messages, you can chat. You can send an image if you want. So if somebody wants an image of the phone of the diamond or anything else, you can send it through. So there's a lot of ways to communicate. The seller can finalize the term sheet, and off you go.
Someone has a question about the terms. If you just want to
I'll address all the questions at the end. Let me. As far as the seller goes, I'm now on my selling side. So I've also got diamonds that I'm selling. There are, when you're a seller, you may get more than one offer on your diamond. So the way the seller view works is that you click on the diamond. This is your diamond as the seller, and it brings up all the different offers that you may have underneath this diamond. In this case, I've only got one diamond that a buyer wants. There's only one buyer offering on this diamond. But if there were more, you would see more diamonds here, more seller, more buyer names there, and you'd be able to look and see who you wanted to negotiate with. And if you finalized a negotiation with one person, all the others would be cancelled. I'm going into the term sheet here, and as a seller, I can edit terms. When I say edit terms, what it means is I can say, well, no, I'm not accepting credit card today, not from this person. I need a wire transfer, and it needs to be within 2 days. And I'm going to ship to the buyer's address, and it's going to, the buyer's going to pay for shipping, and we will definitely not accept returns not from this buyer. And I wrote, you're paying for this as a joke. And I added a term, a tax fee. I can add another term to the deal. Let's call it, I don't know, customs. And that's a flat $50 fee I charge my clients when I'm importing to or exporting to wherever. And I can save the changes. And now you'll see the additional terms are there as well. so that when we get to the invoice, those will be added into the invoice. You'll see that there were certain default terms that started here, and I'll get to that a little later. So that's how the seller can change the terms. At this stage in Trade Center, so to avoid confusion, only the seller can update terms. So if the buyer wants to get anything changed, the best thing is to communicate it through the messages, and then the seller will update it and finalize and do the invoice. Okay, that is the flow that I wanted to show you. I will stop in a second to answer questions, but I do want to say the following things. In order to use Trade Center properly, there are a few things you need to do. 3 things to be exact before you start. 1, we recommend to everybody in the strongest terms possible, change your passwords on RapNet. Don't share your passwords because you don't want somebody who's not in your company to be able to do a trade on your behalf or to communicate on your behalf. While Trade Center is secure because there's no outside emails or third-party tools for communication, you're communicating inside RapNet, it's as secure as you keep your password. If you've shared your password with people, other people can do trades. So please change your passwords to make sure that you are the only people who can log into your to your RapNet. The way to change your password is to log out of RapNet on the website of the mobile app, and then click forgot my password and follow the instructions for resetting your password. You have to put in your email address that you're registered with, and it sends an email. You click on a link. It's a normal forgot my password flow. The second thing that you need to do is set up your member profile on RapNet to make sure that your default trading terms are communicated properly. These default trading terms are what you're going to see when you start out a transaction on RapNet. You'll see here these terms are empty because the seller here did not put in their default trading terms, and so it looks very empty. You can always change your terms within a specific transaction, but set up your default trading terms. Very important. The way to do that is you go to your company profile on the RapNet website and you fill in your general trading terms. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And the third thing is go to your RapNet settings and set up your trading preferences. So you've got a member profile part to set up, and you've got a trading preference part to set up, and that will then set up your company logo and your default text that you want on your invoices, etc., etc., etc. Let me give you a quick view to how that's done. First of all, password you know how to change. You go to your profile by clicking near your name, and you go to company profile, and you'll see here trading terms. You edit your trading terms over here. So we accept bank wires, we accept cash, we accept checks, but we don't accept credit card or escrow, and we want a bank wire within 2 days of invoice or however you want to put it. Diamonds will be shipped within 1 day, etc., etc. You set up your profiles here, and that will then appear in your in Trade Center for your customers. Settings, go to trading and set up some shipping details. In the moment, all you can set up is the contact person. The rest is grayed out. It's not active yet. We'll get there. Term sheet. Do you accept sale? Do you accept memo? And the default payment method you want to appear in the term sheet. And the default location. Do you generally ship to the buyer's address, or do you make the buyers pick up at your location, or is there some third-party place that you want to deliver from? And what's your default? Do you pay for shipping generally, or not? This is mostly used by the sellers. So that's the term sheet, and then the invoice template. You can upload a logo, put in your company registration number, and the rest is at the moment grayed out because it's not active yet. It's for the next version of Trade Center, and then you can have a look at what your invoice will look like when you send it to a buyer. So these are the things you need to do: change your password, set up your member profile, and set up your trading preferences. Okay. That is the demonstration that I wanted to give. That is Trade Center. Pretty easy, pretty simple, very powerful. And I'm now going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to go back to the video and say to everybody, that's it. That's Trade Center. It's easy, it's simple, it's secure, it's efficient. It's a fantastic way to organize and communicate. And it was made for you. It's the next iteration of an intelligent trading system brought to you by RapNet, your current trading system. I'm going to now take any questions that there may be. And if I need to go back and show anything on the screen, I will. And I'm going to go to the Q&A. I see there are 11 open questions. Johnny, have you got a preference, or should I just take it from the top?
I think we explained the trading terms. You want to go? I mean,
okay. Roshali, are the trading terms well enough explained? I think your question came quite a bit before I explained it. If you still have something you want to clarify, please let me know. Kamlesh asked, what is the difference between the message box and the trade center? I'm not sure I understand the exact question, but I do want to say that there is a way to generally communicate on RapNet. If you're not particularly talking about a specific diamond, you go to the chat section on RapNet, the message section, and you can chat with another member. You can also talk about diamonds if you want to. You can sell, buy diamonds through there, whatever. But if you're starting a trade from a contact seller, it will go into the trade center. And there you can chat as well using the same system of chat to communicate, but it's within the organized trade center, which is talking about a particular diamond that you're buying or selling. So you can chat as much as you want, and you can communicate via the trade center chat on that particular diamond. Sammy asked, will the seller get an email that he got a request for a stone? Yes. The seller will get an email saying you have a new trade initiated, go to Trade Center. Once the mobile apps have been passed through the various app stores, you'll also get push notifications to the app whenever there's a change in the Trade Center saying you have a trade waiting for you to deal with. We had a little problem with Apple, and they asked us to change the app in a cosmetic way, and so it hasn't yet been pushed through the App Store, but Android is available. I recommend to everybody, update your RapNet apps. If you have a RapNet app now that doesn't have Trade Center on it, then you're in danger of missing buying or selling because there's a trade and Trade Center doesn't notify you because you don't have the app. So make sure you get the latest version of the Android app as soon as you can, and the Apple iOS version will be ready hopefully today during the course of the day. So yes, there will be a notification email to the seller, but there'll be other notifications as well. In fact, if you're on the website and something changes on one of your trades, you'll get a notification on the screen of the RapNet website as well. James asks, when you update price in messages with a potential buyer, does the price of the stone change in the RapNet public listing? James, that's an excellent question, and I'm glad you asked it because it was something I should have addressed and didn't. The answer to your question is no. When you're negotiating privately with a person, we don't change your publicly listed price. That's firstly. When you're negotiating privately with somebody, we don't change your publicly listed price. But at the same time, when you start a negotiation with somebody, the price that you started at is the price that stays in that negotiation, even if you go and change your publicly listed price on RapNet as a seller. So if the seller updates their prices on RapNet, but is in the middle of a negotiation with somebody else, that it doesn't automatically update that price. The price is frozen at the time the negotiation starts, and now it's between the buyer and the seller to update, change prices within that negotiation. I hope that that makes sense to everybody. If anyone has anything further on that, please ask, because that's a very important point. prices are frozen at the time of the negotiation, and what happens on your publicly listed price on RapNet is now disconnected from what's happening on your private negotiations. And that is a follow-up question then with another user who says, what about privacy? Will the transactions between seller and buyer be able to see by third parties? No. These are private transactions between you and your buyer, you and your seller, and it's not available for third parties at all. James asks, are you planning to add two-factor authentication to the login or an email notification? We are planning on increasing our security as RapNet develops. We have increased it quite significantly already, and there's some more to come in the next few months. And we will get to two-factor at some stage. It's not on the immediate horizon, but it is planned. Another question: does RapNet support any international shipment services? We don't yet have a relationship with any particular international shipment services. However, we can always arrange whatever you need. If you, the person who asked this question, if you could get in touch with the closest RapNet office to you, we can help sort you out. We have relationships with all the international shippers, and we can sort out whatever you need. If you need us to help shipping or help you in a trade, we're there for you. So just give us a shout in the nearest office. Michelle Vardy asks, can you implement your logo to the invoice? The answer, Michelle, is yes. I think I showed everybody how to do that. You upload it to RapNet via the interface on the website. Chaim asks, how do I send the invoice to the buyer? If you were the seller, Chaim, and both of you had clicked Mazal, both of you had clicked agree on the agreement, the seller has an opportunity to preview the invoice, write a few more things, and then send it. So you'll see it at the end of the transaction flow after both of you have agreed. You just press send the invoice, and the invoice gets sent through Trade Center and is available for both the buyer and the seller. You can, of course, and that's a pro forma invoice because you may have an official company invoice or a shipping invoice that accompanies the diamond later. I hope that answers the question. Okay, Sane asked a question which I'm trying to understand exactly. It says, how do you know if the seller is available or not? It's making a suggestion to show like what, up to 18 hours ago. I'm not sure I understand the question exactly. So Sane, if you could maybe help us understand that better, but there's two things that you should note. First of all, when you're chatting with somebody, you can see if they are available with a green or a red dot next to their name. So you'll see if they're actually online. And if you go in the trade, if you recall, there was the transaction log, one of the three areas. You know, there's the terms, there's the chat, and there's the transaction log. You'll be able to see how long ago anybody made a change. And those times are all in your local time, so you don't have to start calculating New York time. They're in your local time. So you'll be able to see what's happened with the seller or the buyer. If somebody doesn't respond to a trade for, I believe, 5 or 7 days, we will cancel that trade. We're not going to leave them open forever. So if you're in the middle of a negotiation and both of you just stop dealing with each other, the trade will get canceled. And of course, anytime up to Mazal, the buyer or the seller can cancel a trade. Sane, if that doesn't answer your question, please ask again or contact us after. Chaim asks, great question. If we have a couple of users under our company, will all of them see the transaction on RapNet? The answer is yes. Transactions are on a company level. So anybody in your company can negotiate. Anybody in your company that has access to RapNet can communicate. Only the primary member of RapNet can change the settings. So only the primary member of RapNet can change the settings in terms of the invoice and the terms and all of that. But anybody in the company can negotiate. They're not under the main user. There is only a company user when it comes to the trade center and the chat, by the way, also the chat. So, but you will see the name of the person who did whatever action or chat or communication happened. You'll see the name of the user, not just the name of the company. Drival asks a great question. When can you see this webinar again? We will be posting this webinar on our website, and we'll be also emailing it out to everybody who was registered for this webinar, so that if you need to read it again, you can have a look, no problem. Paul, do you include bank account details on the invoice? Yes, you can include your bank account details on the invoice. Again, only the primary member can set it up. It was in the settings that I showed you. Then there's a general question about security. Trade Center is about security, and I'm just reading the question. I must confess, I find it organized. Thank you very much. Well done. The one very secure payment way that exists is escrow.com. I was informed that it will be cancelled soon, and you'll have it. And what will you have as an alternative? We do have an agreement with escrow.com. We find that the escrow process and the price is a barrier for a lot of people, and we're looking at alternatives to assist people in paying in a way that's quicker, easier, and cheaper. If anybody would like to use our escrow services, please just be in contact with your local RapNet office, and we can sort it out. It's not something that we offer through the website directly yet, but we can always offer an escrow service for any RapNet member that wants. Kaushik Mehta asks, if we want the payment and the shipment to go through RapNet, is that possible? That's not possible, Kaushik, but that's not possible yet. I'm sure we will get to that very soon as Trade Center develops and as we hear from our clients what it is they need. Then somebody asks, what is stopping people from taking screenshot of your negotiations in Trade Center to an unsuccessful trade to get you to come down to that price, even though rough prices might have migrated north, or you no longer can do it at that price? I have to try and unpack that question. I'm not sure I understand it fully, but essentially, nothing's stopping people from taking screenshots. Of course, the only people who can take the screenshot are the members to the trade, the buyer or the seller in that case. And you can negotiate from Trade Center. So I'm not sure what a screenshot will help other than to use at some later stage. You know, and that's probably the same answer that what's to stop people taking screenshots of the selling of the search results, even though rough prices go up and diamond and polished is going to go up as well. So screenshots are not a way to trade. The way to trade is through the Trade Center and coming to an agreement with the buyer and the seller. If that, I'm not sure that I understood the question, and so my answer may have been vague. So please ask again if there's anything that I didn't. Okay, and then James, which I think is the final question, I think in the session, asks, RapNet will know much more about final transactions than before. Will it be used to build the RAP price list? The RAP price list is built on multiple different data points and a lot of different research areas. We've got people in the market. We've got people in the market where we do research. We've got our own research division. We research transactions on RapNet. We have economists looking at things. So the RapNet price list is built on multiple different points of information that we then process into our proprietary system. And these data points may go to assist in that. But if you're asking, are we going to have an automated RAP price list based on these trades, the answer is no, not no. Okay, I see a few more questions came in in the last few minutes. Akshay asks, after signing the agreement, can the seller call off the deal in case the buyer is unable to fulfill the payment terms? Look, trading on RapNet through the Trade Center is like trading in real life, like face to face. Mazal is mazal. If you both signed the agreement, you've said mazal. You've got to stand by your agreement. If the buyer doesn't stand by their agreement to either pay, or the seller doesn't stand by the agreement to ship, we have a transaction problem like you would have if you shook hands over a table and agreed to terms. If one side signed the agreement and the other side has not yet signed, we allow that first side to withdraw their consent. In other words, Until both say mazal, it's not binding. If one person says mazal and the other one just doesn't respond or keeps trying to change the terms, of course you can withdraw your mazal, you can withdraw your agreement until both sides have agreed on the terms. So this is very much respecting the traditions of the diamond industry, that once you've both said mazal, the deal is closed and you're expected to live up to your agreement. If one side only has said something, they can withdraw it until the other side agrees. Dharmesh asks, can we attach PDF from our website to the Trade Center chat? The answer is yes. Jai asks, what about if we don't want them to see notifications? I think he's asking about other members on their account, I'm assuming. That feature is not yet available. Right now, Trade Center is available to all members of RapNet. We will be working on different permissions in the coming weeks. Okay, Sunny said something very specific about checking a screenshot. He needs that type of time showing on the conversation. We will take that offline and we'll find that that screenshot and see what you're suggesting. Okay, and Barbara, who I think is the last question for now because we're running out of time, says, can the buyer or seller choose the currency for trading? No, RapNet works in US dollars, and right now everything's in US dollars. So no, we will not have currency issues just yet, although we may do that in the future. And also in the future, we're looking at automatic translation of the chats between people so that international members can understand each other easier if they type in their own language, but the other person can read it in their own language. Okay, I think that answers everything. I think that it's been a great session. I appreciate the questions. I hope you've all taken Trade Center out for a spin and had a look. I hope you've maybe even done some communication and maybe even closed a deal through Trade Center. We'd love to hear from you.
Video files, I'm being asked. Can people upload video files in the messaging?
I'm not sure about video files, to be honest. I think just have a shot. Just give it a try. If it works, it works. There is a size limit to what you can upload. So you may be able to upload a video file through the messaging, but you're probably limited by size. You can certainly upload a link to a video file that you're housing on YouTube or anywhere else. If they have any more good suggestions, if our members have suggestions, you should show them the idea forum. Well, there's an idea forum where they can list any of their suggestions or what they're looking for. We can definitely put that into the product, the roadmap. Yeah. So that's it for today. Trade Center, easy, secure, simple, built for you. Brings you all the tools you need to run a modern diamond business. And I wish you a lot of fun using it, and I hope it really improves your trading. I'm sure it will. I'm always here if anyone has any questions. My email is saville, S-A-V-I-L-L-E, @diamonds.net. If anyone has any questions, you can always contact your local RapNet office. And of course, on the website, we have multiple ways to contact us, and on the app. So to open up a conversation or anything you need. There's a lot of information about Trade Center. Apart from this webinar, there's a blog on our page, which was also sent to you all by email, I think yesterday. And that's got links to videos, and you can have a look at all the Trade Center videos there. And there's, of course, onboarding. When you click on Trade Center for the first time, it will take you through a little wizard to explain to you how it works. So please contact us with any questions or suggestions. Learn a little bit about Trade Center, and I wish you all a lot of trading. I see that there's quite a lot of stuff in the chat. Johnny, are you controlling that? There's anything else to do? Okay. So we are good. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. And again, tell everybody, we really appreciate the fact that you've chosen RapNet to do your trading through. And we are standing by for anything you need. And we're here to make sure that you make more money by trading diamonds. At this stage, I'm going to finish the webinar about Trade Center. And I want to mention one thing while I have this audience available. RapNet's moving forward with a lot of initiatives. I don't want to let too much out of the bag right now, but I do want to mention that RapNet is going to add to its repertoire not only diamonds, but we're going to be adding jewelry to our trading system, where you'll be able to trade jewelry in a similar way to the way that you trade diamonds. If you're interested in that, please get hold of the nearest RapNet office or contact us through the website. We're going to be starting a beta program for people who want to test the jewelry feature soon, towards the end of this month. And if you want to be part of that, especially sellers who want to upload product, we'd be very interested in talking to you. And by the end of this year, we should have jewelry on RapNet as well. And of course, you'll be able to trade jewelry through the trade center as well. So there's a lot of fun stuff coming up. There's a lot of things we have planned for 2019, not only the end of 2018, which will help you make more profits and help you trade better. So please give us a call, give us a shout, contact us in any way you want. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, with that, I'm going to end this webinar. I want to thank everybody for attending and thank everybody for being a RapNet member. Thank you.